happening right now. All eyes are on the weather as the threat of severe storms builds across the Midwest. What you need to know before you head to work this morning.
Speaking out, here for the first time right now, a Champaign native who was part of that dangerous circus act in Rhode Island, if she plans to return to the big top.
And it's as easy as 1, 2, 3, what you can do right now to help food banks fill up their bare shelves.
It is Thursday, May 8th. Sunrise this morning starts now.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunrise this morning. It's now 5 o'clock. I'm Natalie Spracio.
And I'm Andrew Hansen. Before we get to your news, let's check in with meteorologist Joe Crane. And Joe, we've enjoyed beautiful skies these past few days, and that's about to change today.
Yeah, as we go through the day, we should be okay, but it's as we get into the evening, certainly the late night, overnight hours, that we'll see that increased threat for strong, possibly. And we'll look at how much cooler it's going to get into the week ahead. Natalie?
Speaking of the weather, Joe, this morning folks in America's heartland are waking up to yet another round of cleanup efforts after yet another destructive day of battering severe storms. And the latest radar this morning shows a wide swath of the Midwest is still in the hot zone as hard-hit communities brace for more of the same. ABC's John Mueller has the latest.
The extreme weather whiplash is fueled by an early taste of summer colliding with the last traces of winter, spawning at least 5 reported tornadoes in Colorado.
Wow!
This dramatic video caught a twister on camera near Akron, Colorado. Meantime, other parts of Colorado were hit by golf ball-sized hail, piling up to 3 inches in some areas, driven by wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour. And wind gusts approaching 90 miles an hour are blamed for derailing this train north of Wichita, Kansas.
I didn't know what to think. I was shocked that it was strong enough to blow the train cars. I mean, I come across all the snap power poles and the power lines down, but I didn't think it was strong enough to blow the train over until I looked down there and saw it laying on its side.
Some 30 cars were knocked off the track by those 90-mile-an-hour winds. Fire officials say luckily those cars weren't carrying any chemicals. It comes as President Obama got a first-hand look at the devastation from last week's deadly tornado outbreak in hard-hit Arkansas. Hundreds of homes were destroyed and 15 people were killed in that state alone.
When something like this happens to a wonderful community like this one, it happens to all of us.
John Mueller, ABC News, New York.
New on Sunrise, one of 8 circus acrobats who plunged about 35 feet to the ground during a hair-hanging act says she'll perform the stunt again.
Samantha Pittard, a Champaign native, was among the women performing Sunday in Rhode Island in what the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus calls the human chandelier. Pittard says she clearly remembers the moments before and after a clamp broke. Pittard is the second performer to be released from the hospital. She's in pain with spine fractures and stitches on her head, but preparing for physical therapy and an eventual return to the big top.
I definitely plan on going back to the show, for sure. Not sure in what capacity. I mean, we got girls that are going to take a lot longer than me, so I'm not sure if hair hang will ever be a part of the show again.
Doctors say several of the women are still unable to move their legs, but they claim all are in good spirits.
New this morning, the federal government is ordering railroads to warn states before transporting large amounts of crude oil through their area. The new order from the Department of Transportation comes after a recent series of crashes involving trains pulling oil tanker cars, including this fiery crash in Lynchburg, Virginia, just last week. In that crash, train cars loaded with crude oil caught fire after jumping the track. Look at this video right now. It's very impressive. No one was injured, but much of Lynchburg's downtown had to be evacuated. This morning, some local communities are chomping at the bit and may be ready to roll the dice on video gaming expansion.
This after the Springfield City Council approved an ordinance that requires new businesses with video gambling to have less than 60% of their revenue come from those machines. As of now, there are only 2 video gambling locations in Jerome that bring in between $1,100 and $1,700. While it may not seem like a lot, village leaders hope that as more video gambling locations open, more revenue can be created. But there's something standing in their way right now.
There's some pitfalls with that. One is the licensing process overseen by the village and our Board of Trustees and Liquor Commission. They'd have to have a liquor license to have a video gaming venue in Jerome. And 2, the other factor is the land issue.
Village President Mike Lopez says there is the possibility that 2 more video gambling locations could open within the next 3 to 4 months. He says if that happens, the city could reach their limit on the amount of alcohol and liquor licenses.
It's being called a mixed bag right now. Springfield's budget director is giving an overview of the city's finances and a glimpse at what's to come. But with the good news comes some worries. ABC News Channel 20's Kimberly Howard has more.
All in all, summary, 14 was a very good year.
$5 million in the bank. Just one of the reasons Springfield Budget Director Bill McCarty and some aldermen are cautiously optimistic.
Well, I think we're just headed in the right direction. I think stability is the key here.
In the past 4 years, the city has surged from a multi-million-dollar deficit to a multi-million-dollar surplus. The average daily cash balance for last fiscal year, nearly $8 million. And the corporate fund balance, which measures both the city's cash and assets, a sharp peak above the rest.
This anticipated fund balance is the highest fund balance that we have seen both in dollars and in percentage.
But it's not all good news. In terms of local tax revenue, the city came in at more than $800,000 lower than anticipated. McCarty attributes the shortfall to the increase in online shopping, while others blame the wicked winter weather.
Oh, it dropped considerably.
Open & Isaac's assistant general manager isn't surprised about the city's sales tax shortfall. She says the sub-zero temperatures affected more than just their customers.
We had to call off our employees. I mean, it hurt us as far as, our labor percentage and our labor hours.
Alderman Edwards says there are other reasons why people weren't spending money.
I mean, when you raise your fees, raise your sales tax, and we had a pretty rough winter, and $2 million of that impact is from CWLP.
There was also a dip in property tax revenue, and that, along with the city's massive unfunded pension liability, are the reasons for concern.
That was Kimberly Howard reporting. As far as Springfield's credit rating, Moody's Investor Service has upgraded the city from a rating of negative to stable. Standard & Poor's is upholding Springfield's credit rating of AA.
The numbers are in. This morning, city officials say the number of building code violations at the Bel Air Motel has doubled since its last inspection. A year ago, inspectors found more than 350 violations. Maintenance workers at motels say they've been making repairs, but at its most recent inspection, the hotel was cited for, get this, more than 700 violations. Motel staff says a big part of the problem is tenant turnover. Rooms are rented on a weekly or monthly basis with no deposit. But a tenant we talked to disagrees.
Day one we walked in, there was a disgusting smell. I mean, there were things that they could have fixed that they don't, and they're kind of cheap here.
This owner has no interest in bringing the building up to code. He lives in Florida. He takes the money from individuals who live there and takes it back to Florida.
Ward 6 Alderman Corey Jobe says the property is a health hazard and should be leveled. He does not think fighting the property owner who lives out of state in court is getting anything done.
More now on a scam that's targeting local business owners.
CWLP says 4 different businesses have reported suspicious calls in which a person claiming to be a CWLP representative demands payment to avoid having the power shut off.
$1,400. That's how much one local business is out after falling victim to this phone scam. But this morning, CWLP says there are several red flags you should be on the lookout for.
We're not going to demand that you make payment by phone, demand a credit card number. We have the walk-in options to walk in and make a payment, and we're not going to cut your power without notice. We're going to be in touch with you before you get to that point.
If you're ever unsure whether the call is coming from the utility, ask for the caller's name and phone number, then hang up. The utility says CWLP will never block their phone number, and the call will always come from a 217 area code.
It's now 5:09 this morning. A new warning for parents, and it has to do with the health of your child's smile.
Coming up in this morning's Health Matters, what a new report says about tooth decay and what experts say you can do right now to help save your child's smile.
Summertime. Well, at least it's been feeling like summer with temperatures today once again well into the 80s. Coming up, when to expect some strong and possible severe thunderstorms to roll through mid-Illinois. Your Storm Team 20 forecast on deck. And don't forget to join the No Text Zone. Take the pledge at WICS.com. Help make Central Illinois roads safer. 12 minutes after 5, Thursday morning edition of Sunrise this morning from ABC News Channel 20 happening now. Some very light rain showers, very scattered, only in the 60s Tuesday and Wednesday. Natalie?
It's been a nice stretch of beautiful weather. Thanks so much, Joe. New on Sunrise, tooth decay is the most common chronic disease in children in the United States. And it's estimated half of all kids ages 2 to 11 actually suffer from it. Well, now new recommendations have come out to help combat this problem. Holly Furfer explains more in this morning's Health Matters.
Most children age 5 and younger do not see a dentist. And not surprisingly, tooth decay is on the rise in this age group. To help reverse this trend, new recommendations now suggest primary care doctors apply fluoride treatments to the teeth of all children 6 months old to age 5. Doctors should also prescribe oral fluoride supplementation to patients who are not getting fluoride in their water. The thinking is that children are more likely to see a doctor early in life than a dentist. These new guidelines were put out by the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force. Tooth decay is 4 times more common than childhood asthma and 7 times more common than hay fever, according to the report. About 1 in 5 children with cavities do not get treatment. This is not only painful, but can lead to loss of teeth, slower weight gain, speech issues, and problems with self-esteem. Dental experts recommend that little ones start seeing a dentist no later than their first birthday, that they brush at least twice a day, and get a checkup every 6 months. For today's Health Minute, I'm Holly Furfer.
And another reason why to have a good dental hygiene, I read girls, one of the first things they notice about a boy is that smile.
You know it.
So you got a good one.
Very important.
You're in, right?
Thank you.
Okay. All right, it's now 5:16. Finding those missing girls. There is mounting worldwide pressure right now and celebrity star power.
Yeah, they're getting involved now. Coming up after the break, find out what's being done to rescue hundreds of girls missing and believed kidnapped by militants. What the U.S. is doing at this hour to help bring the girls home safely. And got tips? The Waste Watch team is ready to investigate. Send us all of your ideas to wastewatch@wics.com.
It's now 5:18. New this morning, the U.S. government is getting involved in a worldwide effort to rescue 223 girls kidnapped by militants nearly a month ago.
The Nigerian government hopes offering a reward will help, along with a little help from Washington. Polo Sandoval has the latest on the search and rescue efforts.
They are looking at us as we are fools.
Patience for parents wears thin in Nigeria. This mother and father refused to reveal their identities for fear of retaliation. Their 2 daughters are among the 276 girls ripped from their boarding schools by the terror group Boko Haram last month. 53 of them escaped captivity. The Islamic extremists are also believed to have attacked a village in Nigeria near the border with Cameroon, killing at least 150 people. The group's leader still promises to sell the kidnapped girls, presumably into slavery and forced marriages. The father, who is speaking out, doesn't believe the Nigerian government is looking for his daughters.
Had it been there is military men who went into the bush to rescue our daughters, we would have to see them.
Nigerian President Goodluck Jonathan hoping to eliminate any skepticism. He insists his troops are scouring the forest. His government even offering a $310,000 reward to anyone with information on the abductions.
Military and security services have the expertise. When I say this, I say with a lot of sense of responsibility.
Okay.
And I want to appeal to people in the world. Just calm down. Give us time. We will bring those girls back.
Closer to home, public pressure is mounting on the streets of American cities. Some Americans, including a few lawmakers, want U.S. Special Forces to launch a rescue operation overseas. The Pentagon is just providing only intelligence and military advice for now. In Washington, I'm Polo Sandoval.
Also new this morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin is now calling on pro-Moscow separatists in Ukraine to postpone a vote on succession just 5 days before the vote is to be held.
Security analysts say the move could potentially pull Ukraine back from the brink of a violent dismemberment. It's also the first sign the Kremlin leader has given he would not endorse a referendum planned for Sunday by pro-Russian rebels seeking independence. Putin also announced he was pulling Russian troops back from the Ukrainian border.
We're now getting an idea as to who may have been responsible for that massive data breach at Target stores. Police now say a man was arrested last December after allegedly using a fraudulent credit card at a Target store in Georgetown. Authorities believe he's involved in a large-scale credit breach with the retailer that's believed to be in excess of $70 million. It's this man, 40-year-old Guao Xing Chen. He's charged with fraudulent use or possession of identifying information and credit or debit card abuse. Authorities expect more charges could be filed at a later date.
An international fugitive is behind bars in Florida this morning for what authorities say was the biggest gold heist in the state's history. Authorities say a 34-year-old Cuban national attacked a gold refinery employee in 2012 and held him at gunpoint before getting away with more than 100 pounds of gold, a value of more than $2 million. Authorities say 2 other unidentified men were involved in the robbery, but officials believe they have captured the mastermind. It is now 5:22. Still to come on Sunrise this morning. Baby fever hits Hollywood. Find out if this die-hard star finally got a baby boy, or if it's even more estrogen for the Willis household. Natalie, your prediction?
I know the answer, so I'm not going to answer.
Oh, okay. She's up on Hollywood.
Oh, you know it.
Plus, we were so close, up to 88 degrees Wednesday, just 1 degree shy of the record high in Springfield. Here's the rest of Wednesday's almanac numbers. And Joe says the summer-like weather continues today, but a big cool down and thunderstorms are heading our way when they get here next.
Just about 25 minutes after 5 o'clock, it's a Thursday morning edition of Sunrise this morning from ABC News Channel 20. We're starting out with warm, muggy temperatures once again this morning, this summer-like weather Tuesday. Andrew?
Joe, thank you. New on Sunrise. This morning, Hollywood has a new baby to go gaga over, and a How I Met Your Mother star can be found on newsstands, but the cover is raising some eyebrows. Dave Stewart has today's Hollywood Minutes.
Bruce Willis and wife Emma welcomed a new baby girl into the world Monday. This is the couple's second child. 59-year-old Willis is now the proud father of 5 daughters. He has 3 other girls with former wife Demi Moore. Move over, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Neil Patrick Harris is bearing almost all for the cover of Rolling Stone. Entertainment Weekly reports the actor does more than show a little skin. He opens up about his lead role on Broadway and how coming out in Hollywood helped his career. The full interview hits stands Friday. And it's bad financial news for Mekhi Phifer. The Divergent and ER star filed for bankruptcy last month. According to legal documents, he's over $1 million in debt. That includes owing $1.2 million in back taxes and more than $4 grand in child support. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Dave Stewart.
Neil Patrick Harris, what'd you guys think?
That was a little risque.
You said he looked like a
he looked kind of like a
20-year-old?
Yeah, he looks very young in that. I don't know.
So you think he still looks like Doogie Howser?
Pretty much, yeah. I still remember him in those days.
All right, well, a live look at Atlanta while we ponder that thought this morning. Looking good in the Peachtree City. The sun is up over Georgia. It'll be coming up over central Illinois a little bit later this morning, but skies will turn threatening later tonight. I'll track it for you hour by hour. Coming up in your next half hour of Sunrise this morning.